Hi, you're on Channel Rewatch. Today I will tell you about a movie from 2015 called Assassination Classroom. An unknown creature made an invariable symbol of Hinduism out of the moon and flew to the ground to misbehave. The military tried to destroy him, but he easily dealt with them. Then this yellow octopus came to Japan to become a school teacher. He was put to teach in the most backward and hopeless class. And this illegitimate son of Miss Pac-Man and Smiley set the students a condition. If they do not kill him before March next year, he will destroy the earth. But the Ministry of Defense is against it, because there is still nowhere for humanity to resettle. So they sent their man named Karasuma to school. You can't kill a yellow face with an ordinary weapon. So the military prepared pistols for the school children with special bullets and special knives that can easily turn an octopus into rolls with soy sauce. But with these weapons, you can't harm people. Yellowhead also cannot harm school children, no matter what they do to him. To prevent people from panicking, the students are asked to keep it all secret. Whoever kills the octopus will receive 10 billion yen. It would seem a trifling matter, but the yellow face is very fast. He moves so fast that he manages to style Karasuma's hair while he's trying to attack him. Students from the backward class agreed to nail the octopus. Karasuma stayed with them as a physical education teacher, and a professional killer named Arena became an English teacher. Since then, by the whole crowd every day, they try killing the cephalopod. Nagisa Siota acted smarter. He began to observe the teacher, write down his features and weaknesses. The hooligans from the class are inciting Nagisa to become a Kazakami. A bomb with special bullets was attached to his body and blew it up when Nagisa came close to the teacher. However, this did not harm him. The octopus just threw off his skin, which served as a shield for him. He can only do this once a month. Nagisa remained alive, but the teacher scolded all those involved in the explosion and promised to punish their relatives if they made such an assassination attempt again. The bomb could have killed Nagisa. After the incident, one girl from the class suggested naming the octopus Koro, and he liked his name. One day, the guy set up a trap and used adult magazines as bait. But even after catching Koro in a net, they could not get into it. Then Karasuma announced that a capable student named Karma Akabine was being transferred to their class. He loved the fight, and for this he was shoved into a class for the retarded. Karma immediately wounds Koro. He glued fragments of a special knife to his palm and greeted a cephalopod. After that, the guys perked up, because with such a classmate, they would definitely kill Koro. Karma and Koro began a tense confrontation, but Koro emerged victorious from all the skirmishes. Then Karma decided to take extreme measures. Karma wants to check out how worthy the teacher Koro is. He jumps off a cliff and flies down without breaking. Koro has a choice: save him and be shot, or leave him as he is. Then Karma will break. As a result, Koro saves the boy, but does not let himself be shot. From that day on, Karma began to respect Koro. Realizing that Karma could not have harmed Koro, the Minister of Defense sent a cabinet with artificial intelligence with built-in weapons, and this cabinet began to shoot mountains of cartridges in Koro. But not a single bullet reached the target. The students rebelled because they had to clean up after the artificial intelligence, so they tied her up. Koro suggested to the artificial intelligence that it is necessary to make friends with the guys, and the girl from the cabinet was added to their phones in the form of an application. She is ready to help them kill Koro. When she became so affable, one girl suggested they call her Ritsu. The Department of Defense admitted their latest failure and added another student named Itona to the class. This Get considers himself the strongest and is ready to easily deal with Koro. His bodyguard Shiro came along with him. He was dressed in a special material that Koro could not touch. It turned out that Itona also has tentacles that crawl out of his head. He challenged Koro to a fight and even managed to slightly shred him, but Koro managed to throw the kid out of the class. Itona lost consciousness, and Shiro had to carry him away. During the fight with Itona, Koro was awakened by memories of some tragic event from the past. After the battle, Nagisa asked him why Koro became a teacher, and he replied that he was fulfilling someone's request. Koro suggested that the students study on the weekends so they have a better chance of killing him. These days, Koro uses his top speed to split up and teach each student individually. After some time in the classroom appears a new physical instructor from the Ministry of Education named Takaoka. He immediately begins to appease the students, then undertook to discipline them. Karasuma knew Takaoka, and he is familiar with his teaching methods. When the new physical instructor hit the girl, Karasuma stood up for her. Then Takaoka offered to fight the best student in a real fight. If the student wins, Takaoka will leave. Karasuma offers Nagisa to defeat the Fitzroka, and he agrees. He pretends to be defenseless. He comes as close as possible and puts a knife into Takaoka's throat. In shame, Takaoka has to leave. When the rainy weather begins, Koro felt bad. It turned out that one of the students slipped him poison, but it didn't harm him. In response, Koro taught the girl to make a really strong poison, but he did not die from it either. After this incident, Koro went into space and dropped a military satellite to the ground, with which they wanted to kill him. The students were completely desperate, but Koro motivated them to study more. He offered to cut off his tentacles if the students did well on the exam. While he spends his strength regenerating, his speed decreases, and the students will have the ability to kill him. And the guys tried to get the highest scores on the exam. And they had 6 students with excellent grades in their class, and Koro cut off 6 of his tentacles. But this will not happen immediately. The guys decided to carry out the execution of the teacher during the summer holidays. And until they come back, the children began to prepare the schoolyard for this execution. They calculated the optimum humidity to weaken Koro, prepared ingenious traps and other killing devices. All this was watched by Takaoka, who nervously began to comb his face. When the day of execution came, the classmates tied up Koro and used their traps to finish him off. But the octopus had a backup plan. He sealed himself in an immersible ball that would collapse only after a day. And while the guys are planning how to kill Koro when he returns to his form, several students become ill. Takaoka appears with a partner and reports that it was he who infected them with a special virus, and only he has an antidote. If they don't use it within 3 days, the guys will die. In return, Takaoka wants to get Koro to destroy him later, but Nagisa doesn't intend to give his beloved teacher into the hands of a psychopath. Then Itona attacks them, and Nagisa has to flee. She and Karma climb onto a high-voltage power pylon, but Itona catches up with them. First, the super-strong mutant fights Karma and tries to kill Nagisa as well, but then it starts to rain, and Itona weakens. The guys specifically choose this day for the execution because it is today that they promised rain. When Itona becomes helpless, Nagisa cuts off his tentacles and invites him to study with them. Then he will gain experience and come up with a new plan to kill Koro. When Nagisa descends to the ground, Takaoka is waiting for him. He captured Kayana, the girl who came up with the names for Ritsu and Koro. Takaoka decided to pour her into concrete along with the octopus, who will try to save her at the cost of his own life, jump out of a sphere, and get hurt by bullets, which were also covered in concrete mortar. In exchange for Koro, Takaoka is willing to give the antidote, and Nagisa agrees. But instead of a teacher, he slips Takaoka an ordinary ball. Before that, he takes time so that his classmates have time to prepare. They learn chemistry so well that they make an antidote themselves and are cured. And then they grab Takaoka and his men, throw them into the cement, and Kayana is released. When Koro is in an impenetrable sphere, the military decides to destroy him. They flew to the school and took Koro and placed him under a special dome. It was covered with bullets that could kill the octopus. The students were invited to watch the execution of the teacher, and they were very worried about Koro. But when he was released from the sphere, the bullets did not harm him, and he returned to his class. However, the authorities wanted to disband the class. Otherwise, the students will become too dangerous, because they have already turned into professional killers. But while they all go to school, Koro continues the work of his friend, Aguri. She once taught this class, and was an employee of the laboratory where Koro was kept. When Koro tried to escape, Aguri died, and before her death, asked to protect her students, so Koro continued to teach. Before the start of the lesson, the same tentacles appeared from Kiana's head, but no one noticed.